Okay, welcome. This is going to be our first Dorset Workplace Experiences webinar on how to engage and inspire young people across Dorset. So thank you very much for joining us. In this webinar, we want to introduce you to our Dorset Workplace Experiences project. We're working in partnership with Dorset Careers Hub on this, and we want to share with you all of the different activities that you can use to help engage with your future workforce and to help inspire local young people onto their career paths. So, why did you decide to join us today? It may be that you're experiencing some of the challenges that you can see there on the screen. Our LSIP team here at the Chamber have been conducting research over the last couple of years with Dorset-based businesses such as yourselves, and these are the common themes that keep cropping up, some of the real difficulties that employers are facing at the moment. Now, I would love to say that I have a magic wand for these issues, and unfortunately, I don't. But I can offer some reassurance that by engaging with young people across Dorset, it's been proven that you can help towards these challenges just by reaching out and working with young people. So we know then that a young person benefits tremendously from the engagement with local employers and adults really from outside of their immediate network. And never has this been so important than since COVID. And that's why we want to get young people out there, meeting people like yourselves. I mean, the benefits to a young person can be things like increased confidence, reduced anxiety. It can help to develop employability skills, build their networks, can help realize career ambitions, and just overall gives them that real sense of achievement and a sense of purpose. So, we've covered why it's so important to young people, why we keep offering them these opportunities, but what are the benefits to you? I mean, you're investing time and staffing towards these types of activities. So what can you get from it? Well, as well as that kind of warm feeling of using your business as a force for good, there's a whole host of other advantages that you can see there on the screen. So number one, you can help to reduce your skills shortages. We keep hearing about skills gaps, the types of skills that we need in the workplace. By getting the young people out sooner and helping them to realize what are the necessary skills can really help to reduce that gap. It can also develop skills in your current workforce, things such as mentoring and leadership by having these young people on site and helping to train them. You can really start building your talent pool as well. So whether that be that you're planning to have an apprenticeship recruitment coming up, an entry level scheme or a graduate scheme, start building that pool from the off. And these are all going to be sort of warm leads. They've tested you out, you've tested them out. So incredibly beneficial. One of the other great things about this is you as a business can gain a great reputation, not just with the young person and their families and their friends, but with the school, the local community. One of the things that we also say is to try and share and raise the profile of these types of activities, as much as possible across social media, across newsletters, with people like the Chamber or any of your business networks. Let's just keep that messaging high, and that also helps your reputation as well. Actually, by inviting a young person in, they can give you a bit of a fresh perspective on things. So if you do a work placement or if you do a workplace activity, try sharing one of your common challenges with them, something that you face in your business, and ask how they deal with it. Because you never know, they may just have the solution that you need. One example actually is a local organisation that invites young people in for work experience. And what they found is that they can actually help them with their TikTok profile. Now, if you invited me in to help with that, I wouldn't be able to help really. But get a student in who knows the platform really well, and they could really help to develop that for you. So what else can it do? It can help you to review your accessibility and your inclusiveness. I've been speaking to an organisation recently who was starting to review their recruitment process and their assessment days. And one of the things that they really wanted to achieve was just to make sure that it was accessible for everyone and that there wasn't any unnecessary barriers in place. So what I've suggested is that actually we can help link them up with a local school, invite in a group of students to their workplace, and ask them to put the assessment day through its paces. And then ask the young people to provide feedback. How did they find it? Was there any barriers, any challenges there? This is really useful for the employer because you get feedback on your recruitment process, but also what an experience for that young person. That they're really helping an organization, really offering some sort of meaningful help to that business, but they're also trialing out an assessment day, which many of them won't experience until they leave school. So, excellent all round. And there's lots of sort of different activities and ideas like that that you can try out and can be a real benefit to yourself and your workforce. So, what can a workplace experience activity look like then? Well, it may surprise you that as little as 2 hours can provide an inspirational moment for a young person, could really give them that spark. And if you look there at the different activities on the screen, you could look at an online offer to start with. Some businesses coordinate this independently, and others use an organisation such as SpringPod, Speakers for Schools. If this is something that you're interested in, we can help put you in touch with different organisations. Um, Now, the sort of virtual online offer can be really useful if you and your workforce work mainly on a remote basis, or if you want to engage with high volumes of young people, which maybe you wouldn't be able to invite on site all at the same time. So, definitely something food for thought there. Um, you can also invite students in for a 2 hour visit, say, or a taste a day. And this really has an impact when students can see the actual workplace. We've got a work experience student coming in a couple of weeks' time. We invited him in for a little informal chat to get to know each other, find out what he wanted to get from the placement. And he'd said, I've never actually been into an office before. So I gave him a little tour and a little show round, and you could just see that that was really having an impact on that young person. And that sort of 2 hours or a taste a day is really quite manageable when it comes to looking at your own calendars and the things that you've got on. You can also offer block placements. And this is something that we're probably all aware of, really, and is considered a bit more of a traditional approach. I know I certainly did it when I was at school. And you're looking at a kind of 1 or 2 week block placement. It's very popular for this to be offered in June and July in the summer months. And actually, the benefits of these block placements is that a student's really able to get stuck in. They're really able to connect with the colleagues at the workplace, and they get to do some real sort of tangible activities, and feel part of something, which is great. But we do appreciate that this block placement approach can be quite tricky with remote working and a hybrid working. Everyone's not necessarily in the office for 5 days a week anymore. And so, actually, one of the things that we want to encourage is a consortium approach, and that might be where you partner with another local business and perhaps offer 2 or 3 days each. This then suits you and your availability, but it also gives the student an opportunity to experience two different workplaces, and also double the network that they would have met originally. So definitely worth considering, especially if you have another employer that you work quite closely with, perhaps someone in your supply chain that you could partner with on that basis and try it out. Um, Another option that you could consider is what's called an extended placement. So this might be for an afternoon a week, for example. Now, this can fit into a schedule quite easily, and it can also allow you to set tasks aside for when that young person comes in. This option does particularly suit maybe sixth formers or college students, perhaps where they have a bit of free time on their timetable every week. And it can also be really good for learners with additional needs and offers that more flexible approach, whereas perhaps they wouldn't be able to access a full week worth of work experience. An extended placement could be exactly what they need. So definitely worth considering there. So hopefully what you can see is that we're really keen on encouraging this progressive and layered approach to workplace experiences. The traditional model of a 1 week block placement, where it works well, it can work really well, but we are finding that some young students and some businesses are unable to engage with this sort of activity, and then that means that they miss out completely. So you can see that the lighter touch activities, such as the virtual work experience or maybe the visits, they can be done in slightly higher volume. And it offers that chance, really as a bit of a taster, to introduce students to your sector, to your business, and help to spark that initial inspiration. And then the activities to the right of the screen perhaps will happen less, but just gives the student that chance to really apply their skills and really sort of demonstrate what they've learned. So this leads me on nicely then onto how we're going to coordinate this type of activity. So in partnership with Dorset Careers Hub, we're creating what we've called Dorset WorkX Directory. And this is where businesses can register for free their interest in offering the activities that suit them. So, taking stock, this suits us at the moment, and you can always change it as you go along throughout the year. It can always be amended, but you're reflecting on what suits you as a business and sharing that. The directory will then be launched to schools in September. It will be accessible to the careers leaders. So these are members of staff at the school that have responsibility for the the overseeing of their careers program, and they'll use that then to support their careers activity. It's going to support them as well in adopting this kind of progressive and layered approach. Above all, it's going to help strengthen links between education and employers. And essentially, this is what we want in Dorset and benefits everybody. The other part of the project then is to support you. Now, the first step is us hosting these webinars. We're recording them and then they will be shared via Dorset Careers Hub and Dorset Chamber. So you can reflect back on them later or please share with your network to anyone else you think might want to get involved, but just needs that little bit more of information. And hopefully these webinars are going to answer some of the more frequently asked questions. What we've also done is created a web page on the Chamber website, and it's full of resources, links, templates that you can access, use, amend as you need to. And we're continually developing this website as well. So if there is something that you need, perhaps you can't find it on the web page, just let us know. We can either help you find it or we can create it and get that information on there for you. So we would really welcome any feedback on the support or resources that you might need, because we're really, really keen to make this a success and make sure that workplace experiences are working for both yourself and the young person. So really interesting to hear what support you need and of any particular barriers as well. That's really, really important. Okay, so my advice to you then, when starting to plan your activity, is above all, we want to make sure that whatever you do, it's meaningful for everybody involved and it's having that impact that we want and it's meeting those outcomes that we want as well. So what I would say is where possible, allow students to meet different people from across the business because you never know who's going to provide that spark. And it's really interesting for the young person to hear different career journeys and different stories, find out what the entry requirements are. So try and get as many people involved as you can that can talk to the young people. Also encourage the opportunity for students to ask questions. No question is a silly question. In fact, one of our employers that we work with, their top tip for work experience was be curious. And that's exactly what the message we want to get across to our students and young people. A lot of us learn from doing, so any activities that you can offer which allows students to practice certain skills, it has a real impact and it has that long-lasting impact as well. It gives the young person something to refer back to. They've remembered that they've remembered that they've practiced perhaps different skills, and it really gives them that sense of achievement as well. So have a think what you could do. No matter how small the activity, it's great to kind of get them up and about and doing something practical. And if you can give them feedback on anything that they do, then even better. Okay, and so also just some top tips then. Why not have a dedicated shared email address that you can use for this sort of activity? It could be anything. It could be your careers at email. It could be work experience. It could be future workforce. It could be school engagement. There's lots of ideas that you could utilize there. But you may find that you're an employer of choice for these young people, which is an excellent position to be in, but may mean that you get a few requests for workplace experiences. By having something like a dedicated email inbox just helps for you to keep those requests separate, helps to be able to coordinate and organize them effectively. You can put on things like an automated response to those emails. And also it just ensures that continuity as well. So in case of things like annual leave, sickness, staff turnover, that kind of dedicated shared email inbox really comes into its own and helps you to manage that activity. A dedicated web page is also great to share what opportunities you have for engagement. It's useful for the school and the young person, because what we found is that your website will often be the first place that they go to find out information. So for example, a local business that I've been speaking to, they have a dedicated page for work experience. So it's quite easy to Google, and it's one of the first things that come up. And they use that to advertise what weeks they're able to provide a week-long work placement. And then as they fill those places, they update the website. And it just helps to set expectations for the young person as well, and it helps them to see what is available. And then if they need to go and contact other businesses, they can. My next piece of advice then is to use established days that are already in the calendar. I've put some examples on there: Open Doors Construction, National Coding Week. There's other things like Open Farm Sunday. Whatever sector you're in, there is going to be some form of national day or national week that you could get involved in. And the benefit of this is that it provides a good opportunity for partnership, perhaps with other businesses. And it also helps with things like your communications, your promotion. And if you're not sure what national days there are that could suit you, reach out to us, and we'll be able to have a look, or certainly investigate it for you, or suggest some options. So definitely take a look at the established days that are already there. One thing that I found really useful in organising our workplace experiences here at the Chamber is I've started to create a bank of resources that can be used on an ongoing basis, can be used again and again. And yes, it's a little bit of work at the start, but I know now that when we have this work placement student in, he is going to be kept busy for the full week. He's going to have a variety of activities to take part in, and then whatever live work we also have coming in, he's going to be able to help with that as well. And the reason why I've been able to do that is actually because the team here at the Chamber have all sort of rallied round and are all getting activities in which they do as part of their job. That leads to the final point: is involve colleagues and employees in the planning of this. For this type of activity to be sustainable and successful, you need to get as much buy-in and support as possible. So get them involved and listen to what they have to say as well, because they'll have some great ideas on the types of things that you can do. So that's enough from me at the moment. And apologies, that is a bit of a whistle-stop tour, but we wanted this to be quite sort of light touch and something you could listen to whilst eating your sandwich. But I am delighted to pass over to Helen Stevenson, who's one of the hub leads from Dorset Careers Hub.
Thank you, Laura, and thank you for all the information. I know I'm excited by what you've just presented, so hopefully everybody in the room or watching the recording will be as well. Obviously, as an audience, you've come here today because hopefully you have an appetite to either grow your existing programme of delivering workplace experiences, or maybe begin this and start delivering for the first time. I suppose, as the audience in the room, I just wanted to give you a little bit of a taste of the wider work we do and the wealth of activities that we support to connect schools and young people with the world of work. So Laura, if you're happy to just flick on to the next slide. If you have got a bit of an interest in working with schools and young people, please absolutely, as a priority, think about hosting them for a workplace experience. But one of the other things I just wanted to signpost you to today is our employer standards. Now, this is a diagnostic tool that as an employer you can use just to understand what you're already doing or what you potentially could begin to deliver, both in your workplace and within schools to support young people. So we kind of look at that as the three areas or the 9 slightly small illustrations that are on the screen there. But as I say, it's a really good starting point to kind of understand where you're at and where you could go next. And through that tool, it's a self-assessment that takes about 25 minutes. You're able to access a wealth of resources that can support you with other education outreach. If you just click on to the next slide, Laura. Just to give you an idea of some of the things that you can get involved with, I've mentioned the employer standards there. We also have a number of volunteer roles. So one of those is the role of an enterprise advisor. So this would mean you make a commitment to partner with a local school or college and offer them some sort of one-to-one strategic support. So you'd be working with the careers leader, who Laura mentioned earlier, to kind of give them a slightly different perspective and aid and enhance the careers program as they develop it. We know there's a lot of evidence out there that careers programs that are developed with an employer are, very effective and have impact. If you can't make the commitment to sort of do that one-to-one match, that's absolutely fine. We do have opportunities to link you with school staff on a more ad hoc basis through our agile roles, or if you're in an organisation that maybe has volunteering days or some kind of CSR release time or something, then it can be that you just go in and deliver for an hour or just approach it in a slightly different way. As you'll probably be aware, a lot of our schools and colleges hold their own careers events. We also host a number of events that we attract multiple schools to. So if you don't already, please have a look at our website. We do have a calendar that enables you to understand where and when these activities are taking place. And equally, if as an employer, you have opportunities for young people to engage with you, please let us know, because we'd be really excited to put that on our calendar and promote it, because it is a one-stop shop, if you like. Schools use that tool as well. And then the final thing to say is just around all the other wealth of activity you can do. And you may remember from your own experience in education, or through perhaps if you've got children in school, there's a lot of other activities: mock interviews, workshops, talks and assemblies, employability skills, lots and lots of ways for employers and organisations to get involved. So I've put our web link on the bottom of the screen there. Please do fill in our form. Either reach out to Laura or ourselves and we'll get back to you. And yeah, just if you want to find out more information, then please get in touch. Thank you, Laura.
Thank you, Helen. That's great. We really are working in partnership with Dorset Careers Hub. So yeah, my advice would be is if you want to engage in some way, you've got some questions, reach out to either of us. Any of the organisations are willing to sort of help out, and we liaise very closely together. Okay, so we're coming towards the end, but I did want to share about the upcoming webinars that we have. So we've got one next week and one the week after. So if you are interested in registering for those, then please do. If you have any issues registering through the website, just reach out to me directly and I can get that fixed for you and sorted. And so in conclusion then, before we sign off, please join our Dorset WorkX directory. Join the work experience revolution here in Dorset. We can only do it with you guys, employers, organisations by our side. It's free. It represents all of Dorset. It promotes equal opportunity. It can help provide you with a support network in terms of this type of activity. So why wouldn't you sign up? So please do. But any questions, please email us. We're here to help. And thank you very much for joining today. Thank you.